Aquí estás, debemos mover, te adoraré, te adoraré. Aquí estás, obrando en mí, te adoraré, te adoraré. Aquí estás, debemos mover, te adoraré, te adoraré. Aquí estás, obrando en mí, te adoraré, te adoraré. Milagroso, abres caminos, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas, mi Dios, así eres tú. Milagroso, abres caminos, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas, mi Dios, así eres tú. Aquí estás, tocando mi corazón, te adoraré, te adoraré. Aquí estás, sanando mi corazón, te adoraré, te adoraré.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our worship session, and we hope that you enjoyed it. You can support us by going online at cogmonticello.com or by writing us via mail at 21 Woodcliff Avenue, Monticello, New York, 12701. You can also do so by text. Information is on the screen. We hope that you join us in prayer every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. We know that during these times, prayer is very important. If you need prayer or have a prayer request, you can write us at monticellopraise@gmail.com. Again, monticellopraise@gmail.com. We hope that you enjoy the rest of the message, and thank you so much for subscribing to our YouTube channel or liking us on Facebook, where you can get notifications on the next message.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Maydeen back again with another video, another devotional. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. As you can see, I'm in a different spot this time. I'm actually in my daughter's room. If you hear any noise, you already know. All right. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Also, if you notice that the phone is, or the camera is like wobbly or shaky or whatever, I'm holding it. It's kind of awkward. Couldn't really find a nice spot, and I just wanted to shoot this out for you guys. So here goes. So I want to talk about someone from the Bible. I want to talk about a guy named Joseph, and it's not Joseph from Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. It's Joseph from back in the Old Testament, from the book of Genesis. And I love his story. I love who he is. I love how God used him, and you know, God found favor over him. I love the fact that Joseph shows or is like sort of an introduction to the story of Jesus in so many different ways. And I kind of want to do like a series on Joseph, just because I love his whole story so much. So I'm going to try to do that. And I hope that you guys would enjoy it and, you know, learn to love who this man was, and who he became to be, you know, with God's help. So first, like I said, Joseph is one of my favorite male persons from the Bible. I was going to say characters. He's one of my many favorites. I don't know if you, for some of you should know, but if you didn't, the very first preaching that I've ever preached at Unplugged was on Joseph. And it's just been like an awesome experience to be able to study up on him and, you know, get who this person was. So if you didn't know, they actually made a movie, like a cartoon movie out of Joseph. It's called Joseph, King of Dreams. And I absolutely loved it. I actually saw the movie probably, I want to say like when I was 10 or 11 years old. And it was the movie that inspired me more, you know, to know more about him. Obviously not at that age, because, you know, at that age, you're not really thinking, oh, let me study the Bible, you know. But as I've grown up, I've become, you know, more aware, and I've learned to appreciate more. And the more that I've studied, and the more that I, you know, seen the movie, actually seen the movie many times. It's one of my favorites, and I love watching it with the girls. I've learned to, you know, appreciate more. And I love watching movies that have to do with real life people, you know, whether it's cartoons or live action, or whatever it is. So, like I said, I've been watching this movie for quite a while now. And I encourage if you guys, if you have not watched it yet, to go ahead and watch it. It's Joseph, King of Dreams. So let's go ahead and get started with our devotional. So I want to focus on Genesis 37. That's basically where the story of Joseph begins. And I want to focus on this week, on Joseph and his obedient heart. We know that he was just obedient right out of nature. And that's why Jacob, his father, favored him more than his other siblings. Many say that he was the favorite. And the more that I've dug in here, I've come to an understanding as to why he has favored him more than his other siblings. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we know that Joseph is the youngest son of Jacob. And Jacob is also known as Israel because God changed his name. And I believe that's in like chapter 35 or something like that, when he wrestled with the Lord. And he changed his name to Israel. But in chapter 37, where we are starting, he's referred to as Jacob. So when Jacob and his wife had Joseph, they were extremely old, all right, old and wrinkly. And back in biblical times, people lived as old as 130, 110, 15 years old. So I don't know if they were that old, but they were old and wrinkly. So there's like, this stigma out there that the youngest child, boy or girl, is always the favorite. And I've come to find out that with Jacob, I found two reasons why maybe he was the favorite, or he was favored by him. And that's because first, the first place, Joseph was born while his parents were extremely old, like I said. So it's considered a miracle. We don't really see old people, conceiving and giving birth to a child. Like, it has happened. I watched news and heard stories of 60, 70, 80-year-old women, like in India or something, giving birth to a newborn baby, and it's considered a miracle. And I'm not doubting that can happen, but it's extremely hard. So for them, Joseph was their miracle. He was the last born. The second reason that I found was that Joseph, he had an obedient nature to him already. And I believe that this obedient nature, it strengthened that favor that he received from his dad, Jacob. All right. So I myself, in a way, can understand Jacob, when it comes to, favoring Joseph in a way. And many of you guys know me, who I am. I have 3 daughters, 10, 8, and 4. So most of you all, you all swear up and down, and I've heard this plenty of times, you guys have told me that I favor my youngest, the 4-year-old, over the other 2. And I understand that you guys have your opinions, and I can't change that. But I just want to make it clear right now that I do not favor or have favorites. I know for myself how that feels, and I wouldn't want my daughters to feel that way. So, with all due respect, keep your opinions to yourselves, especially if you say a comment like that in front of them, because I don't want them to feel any type of way. Okay. Like I said, I don't favor any of them. I love them all the same, whether it's from the oldest, the middle, or the youngest. Okay. But as a parent, parents gravitate more to children who obey and are obedient. Like if you're a parent, you know that like you tell your child to do something the first time, rare that it happens, but if it does, God bless you guys. You guys are the MVPs, but you know that when you tell a child something and, hey, can you please do dishes? Can you please clean your room? Do your chores, whatever they are, and they do it right away. I'm so sure that as for the parents, that is like one of the best feelings in the whole entire world, is to see that your child is obedient to you, and they respect you in such a way. And they do everything without complaining and stuff. So I can see, Joseph doing so, all this, his chores. He was a shepherd, he had to take care of the flock and everything like that. So he had that nature in him to be obedient. And, Jacob loved that, and this is where, he shows favor to Joseph because of his obedientness. And, there's a difference between showing favor and having a favorite. A favorite, and you guys can look this up for yourselves. A favorite basically is referring to when you prefer someone or something before anything else, before all others. That is what a favorite is. But favor is the approval or the support or liking for someone or something. So Jacob found favor in Joseph because he was responding to his obedience. Okay. And we can all learn how to win the heart of our Father in heaven through obedience. I know the Father, he is pleased when we are obedient to him, when we do his will, when we work for the kingdom, he is pleased with us. And then that's when he finds favor over us and gives us favor over us, whether it's in our ministry, in our schools, with other people, jobs, he finds favor within us. So our hearts should all be concerned for what God is concerned for. And that basically is reaching out to everyone in our communities or even the whole world, and showing them that God is love, and that Jesus is love. So we can be reconciled and they can be reconciled with God. All right. So your actions and your speech, the way you talk, the way you act, what you do, should reflect the heart of your Father, God in heaven. And I believe that Jesus is the best example of this, Jesus is like the best example for everything. But I do want to show you and reference something here, that after Jesus was baptized in obedience to fulfill the righteousness, he was obedient to the Father. He did what the Father had asked him to do. And I want to read, I'm going to look in my Bible real quick, and I want to look at Matthew chapter 3. And if you guys can come along with me, that would be great. Sorry if I'm like cutting my head off. Matthew 3. Just checking my head is not cut off. Matthew 3:15 through 17. It says, "But Jesus said, 'It should be done, for we must carry out all that God requires.' So John agreed to baptize him. After his baptism, as Jesus came up from the water, the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and settling on him. And a voice from heaven said, 'This is my dearly loved Son, who brings me great joy.'" So you see that it was in his obedience, in Jesus' obedience, that God found favor on Jesus. He found his pleasure in Jesus. So at this time, I want you guys to really think about it. Most of you that are watching are probably young, they're still in school, and think, if you have other siblings or whatever, it definitely can be rough, when, one parent shows more, I don't know, affection or something, or gravitates to another. Like I said, every family is different. But I know, as a parent speaking, it's just the obedience is the key. As far as me, I can speak for myself. Like, obedience is like, oh my God, pure bliss. When my daughters do something that I have told them to do, it's like one of the best feelings in the world. And I'm pretty sure that God feels the same way, because we are his children. And if he tells us to do something, or he shows us to do something, and we do it, it's the same thing. He finds joy in it. He finds pleasure in it. All right. So let God find pleasure in your obedience. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how young you are. As long as, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you will have favor over your life. So respect your parents. Listen to them. Do what they say. They will find favor over you. And I know that God, you respecting your parents, God will also find favor over you as well, because that's something that we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be respecting our parents and stuff like that. So at this time, that is it. Peace out.